The SABC's Summer Song of the Year is causing waves. It usually is voted for by listeners of 18 SABC radio stations. But following a dispute about who came up with the concept, the country's biggest radio station, Ukhozi FM, will now not announce the 2019 Song of the Year tonight, pending a court case in February 2020. Owen Ndlovu, who said he partnered with the SABC in organizing the event, has accused the public broadcaster of stealing his idea and running it on its own. So let's take you through that statement that the SABC has sent out. In fact, that they are saying to clarify the ongoing matter between Owen and the SABC Song of the Year announcement. They say they confirmed that all of its radio stations except Ukhozi FM will do a countdown and announce their station's respective Song of the Year. Ukhozi FM will not announce the Song of the Year pending the finalization of the matter. The matter will be heard in court on the 10th of February, and that's what the SABC sentiment is about this. But Owen Ndlovu, who has accused the SABC of stealing his intellectual property, joins us now in the studio. So, just exactly where does the disagreement come in? You've worked at the SABC, and the SABC argues that this has been a practice for quite a while, and they don't understand why you are claiming that this is your concept.
First of all, good evening to you, Tabzozo, and good evening to the viewers of 404. And also, let me take this opportunity to apologize to the nation. It was not my intention, like Advocate Berry is accusing me of holding the nation at ransom. It was not intentional. The fact is, in 2012, we proposed to SABC as Michael on Productions to get all the radio stations of SABC together to vote for one song. Remember, at the time, there was Metro FM that already had its own awards.
Okay, so, and I just need clarity for this, because there are some also legal arguments that may spring up. At the time, was it your own independent production company that proposed this while you were no longer an employee of the SABC?
Correct. I resigned at SABC in 2004. I only worked for 4 years.
Okay.
I was full-time in 1998 and I resigned in 2004. Ever since then, I've been independent. So I always had contracts based on the proposal that I was doing. I'm a creative director. So I was never really employed by SABC. I was always coming with ideas. And what we did in 2010, Feel It Is Here, it was one of my proposals, and I made it popular together with the marketing manager then, that was Peter Mashamba. So there's a lot of things that we have proposed to SABC and done. Also,
but when you made these proposals and the contract that you signed, was it a contract of you as an individual or a contract with the company, and did it talk about issues of intellectual property? Because some of those contracts of the SABC one would have seen, which says that if you are somehow contracted to the SABC, you would have to accept that some of the ideas that you come up with then belong to the company.
Well, it's clear. I worked for SABC as a commentator on Ukhozi FM. The contract was different because I was saying that if I produce or I do anything, that is an intellectual property of the SABC. But when we proposed the summer song, it was clear, and SABC signed on that, declaring that we acknowledge and accept that this is a property, intellectual property of Michael on Production. So it was clear in the contract. So how was
the distinction made between your summer song and the Song of the Year? Because the SABC contends now that this has been an idea that has been in practice at the SABC long before you came up with this.
Well, traditionally, 1940 or way before that, SABC used to have via Ukhozi FM, because of that's a station that I used to listen to when I was down in Natal for school. They used to have the top 20. It's not the Song of the Year. No radio station at SABC has got a Song of the Year unless you're going to give an award. That is why Metro FM was the only one.
But when you say that no radio station has a Song of the Year, I'm sure there are quite a few who dispute it, because at the end of the year, for as long as I can remember listening to various SABC stations, people would vote for their favorite song of the year at year end. But there is the Summer Song of the Year, which you say the distinction is. So
not necessarily, Zozo. They were not voting. What used to happen in the years They just used to wake up in the morning and then decide on their top 10 without people voting for a period. It still happens now. Every weekend, Ukhozi FM specifically has got their own top 20. Metro has got top 40.
Yes,
nobody votes for it. Nobody,
yes, that's part of the program.
That's a part of the program. They base that on chat shows.
But I also know for certain, and I'm sure history will bear me out, that there is some contribution from the listeners, that in some cases it's not just purely a decision made by programming.
It only started when we proposed to SABC after 2012.
Okay, I want you to take a look at these tweets that are coming through, because some people are commenting on this. As you said, there's been quite a great deal of disappointment about this decision. So let's put up those tweets. Some of them, I know one of them did talk about you know, if your contention is just, there we go, switch off. That is Musi Watunya saying that pure madness. We've had a song of the year for many ages and no one can claim its ownership. Just because someone came with a system to audit first, it doesn't give them the right to song of the year. SABC legal team is incompetent if they couldn't argue this in court. What are your thoughts about this?
I disagree, also because we are coming from the apartheid era. Before 1994, we used to wave the old flag. But you can't wave an old flag now. The moment SABC signed the contract declaring that this is my intellectual property, that's what it remains.
So you're saying they relinquish any ownership?
They relinquish any rights. It's like selling the rights to someone else. Michael Jackson bought the
Bee Gees rights. So when you say selling the rights to someone else, that then would suggest that there was indeed a product to be sold, as in there was something to sell, as in that concept then did exist, but then it was passed on to you.
I'm talking about what they used to do before 1994 and all the years when Kansas City was still the presenter, used to do the top 20. Any radio station in Sebzozo can do top 20 anytime. But the song of the year came with us. We said, Metro is just one station doing the song of the year. And there's a lot of concerns that maybe people that are working for Metro FM as DJs gets to be selected. And then we said, let's involve all 18 radio stations to campaign and vote.
All right, so tell me about what happened this year. You say you were surprised when the SABC didn't come to the table. They seemed to not be party to this, as they were from the onset of the arrangement. What was the understanding or misunderstanding that led us to this point?
Well, we signed the contract with SABC. Actually, I proposed in 2012, and then 2013, I received a letter of intent, which I do have here. So I couldn't do it because I didn't have money then. 2013, 2014. And then 2015, we tested. That was for the first time. 2016, then we signed the contract. Now, the contract was supposed to go for 3 years. That is me proposing to SABC, because of this is not commission.
So what were you signing in 2012?
2012, I made a proposal to say, this is what I want to do. And then they accepted me. They gave me the letter of intent to say, okay, Owen, we liked your concept. This is what they said in writing, to say, we are interested in partnering with you.
So it was technically you did not sign in 2012?
In 2012, I did not sign. I proposed and I got a letter of intent, which is this one from SABC saying...
So you signed...
I signed only in 2016. That was a contract. Okay. So the contract was then for 3 years. But what happened then in 2017, because of this Hlaudi madness, everybody was saying any contract that was signed SABC, that was signed by Hlaudi, must be investigated. And we found ourselves in the middle of people fighting about Hlaudi, and our contract was investigated, including the Summer Song contract.
Was it investigated and invalidated, or merely investigated and then,
it was investigated, in 2017, and then in 2018 we were called by Eugene Zwane, who was heading the SABC adventures at the time, the business adventures, to say, no, we have checked your contract, there's nothing untoward about it. Then they issued another letter of intent in 2018 so that we can proceed starting to work. So my contract was checked, nothing was wrong about it. So I waited. You can't believe, Tsepo, that last year, 2018, the contract between myself and SABC was signed on the 31st of December. And that's how late things were done. So the whole campaign was not given time to to perfect it and to give time to promote it so that we maximize what we expected from
Now, you're talking a period of 3 years. So your understanding as of the 31st of December 2018, SABC, as you said earlier on, signed on its intellectual property of Song of the Year, and I'm quoting you verbatim, to you because they acknowledge that this is your concept.
Correct. They have signed to accept and acknowledge that this is an intellectual property of Michael Owen. So that's when they signed in 2016, is there in the contract. But then 2017, we didn't do anything because of they were investigating contracts. And then that's where we started negotiations to say, how are you going to reinvest the year that is lost, which is 2017? And they never came back to me. So I was waiting still for SABC to come back to me to say, what are we doing moving forward? But it's fine. If SABC says the contract is expired, it has expired, but let me take my property elsewhere.
So why are you, so the SABC is saying that they will continue with this in all other SABC radio stations except for Ukhozi FM. And this is the point that I wanted to ask you. So are you going to legally challenge that as well?
I didn't challenge Ukhozi FM, by the way, Tsabzozo. I challenged SABC. My contract, I don't have any contract with Ukhozi. I've got a contract with SABC.
Are you going to interdict to the SABC?
If SABC, the judge was clear to say they must not announce any song of the year. By the way, the judge didn't say that only Ukhozi FM must not announce. It says SABC, we agree that they're not going to announce anything. So no one can announce a song of the year because the contract I have binds all 18 radio stations of SABC.
You've got it with you, yes?
I've got the contract.
Please read that portion.
Well, it will take me time to read, and I'm not a lawyer. I'll leave it to...
But in terms
I wouldn't
of
want to get into contract because the contract is between two parties and there's legal bindings, and I don't want to find myself tangled in there. Okay. But SABC,
so
they know there's a...
Yes. Paraphrase for us what is in this document that gives you the understanding that should the SABC go ahead and announce Song of the Year on other radio stations, that they would be breaching this contract?
It's because we presented to SABC an idea that was in 2012, but that idea was materialized in a form of a proposal. Over and above that, 2016, my idea was live on television, which means now it's intellectual property, and it was there because of me. So remember, intellectual property law is simple. Whoever does it first is theirs, and if it's materialized, it's no longer an idea. So the material that we're talking about, I do have and belongs to me, and nobody else can use it, including SABC, all radio stations. So this is not about Ukhozi, by the way. I've got nothing to do with Ukhozi. It's my former station. Everybody at SABC is still my colleague. The only thing I just don't understand why SABC decided to go on its own this time. That question has never been answered because I've never done anything wrong.
I do want to understand because as you saw, the other tweet, I'm not sure if we played it, or the other tweet. Let me see if we can get it back up of that other list viewer, Vincent, saying he's extremely disappointed, with voting. He spent about 100 Rand voting for the Song of the Year. Legal dispute should have happened after New Year's Eve. Can SABC resolve this issue before 12 midnight? Please, please. So this is Vincent speaking for himself here. And I'm wondering, again, I go back to the issue. If the SABC says its understanding is that they are permitted to go ahead with announcing Song of the Year on other radio stations but Ukhozi, what is your course of action? Are you standing by with a legal team? Do you have the means to call on a legal team to say interdict the SABC from doing this?
If something belongs to you, you will die for it. And this is the family business. I'm representing my family here. I can't fail them. And I don't understand why there's a war between me and SABC when SABC, as a public station, is supposed to be supporting people like us. There's no proper argument what is wrong here because of, I even last year edited the agreement to say we're going to now start sharing 50-50 on the SMSs made. Look, my benchmark is Idols. Idols this year, they made 115 million SMSs. SABC is bleeding. There's no money. This is an opportunity for all of us to make money. I'm a businessman. My ideas all of them, they should benefit me. But I'm not selfish. We said, let's come together and put SABC to benefit. I don't understand what the fuss is here. I'm still waiting for SABC to give me just a line to say what is wrong, because of, as far as I know, they're still coming back to me.
So you say they still have not communicated with you till this very hour on what next, even though there's a legal dispute?
Zozo, it sounds crazy. I've been in contact, telephone conversations with individuals at SABC trying to say...
How high up the value chain?
Well, very high. But what I've noticed is that there's a lot of interference stopping people from doing their work. Because
interference
of
from who?
My immediate bosses that are relating to the contract that I'm dealing with, they don't have a problem with talking to me.
When you say your immediate bosses, I understand you don't work for the SABC anymore.
Well, once we've got a contract, everybody's my boss. Everybody's my boss, even here.
So who are your immediate bosses?
Well, are the people that I'm talking to that I can't mention right now. But those are the people that I'm talking to all the time regarding the contract. So they will always say, no, Owen, we don't have a problem. The problem is up there. Up until today, Zozo, there's not even a single line as a reason why we are in this situation today. I've never got an answer. The very same thing that SABC is saying, that the contract is expired, I'm reading about it in the newspapers myself. That has never been communicated to me, number one. Number two, a big publication like SABC has never issued one report. 2015, there's no report about the summer song.
Okay. Owen, we are running out of time. You said you'd die for your family business. A final question. What are you willing to do, or what are you planning to do? Because I'm still here wondering that you say the SABC is in breach, and should they go ahead and make the announcement on the other stations, you are going to fight them. How and when?
Well, I've got the lawyers that do the battle for me. My one is to negotiate with SABC. I don't have a fight with SABC. SABC is my home, and it will always be my home. I want to talk to them. But the lawyers will do justice, because I can't interpret the laws.
All right. Owen Ndlovu, thank you so much for talking to us. He's accused the SABC of stealing his intellectual property. And, of course, we'll see what happens at midnight when that Song of the Year is supposed to be announced. So, Aldrin?